Thank you so much for joining in today. My name is Imran Sheikh, and whether you guys are watching me live or you're watching me on record or in a record video, I'm glad that you tuned in. As you know, this program is brought to you by Houston Professional Women Organization, where we have different segments. The platform is connecting all women professionals at one platform where they can connect with each other, where they can promote each other, where they can highlight each other's work. And today's segment is very special and very close to my heart because this segment is Women of the Week, and we try to bring the women from our community who have done tremendous work and who have served the community at their best. So today the women I have is an amazing leader, an amazing woman, and let me introduce the women to you before I really start this program. We are very, very thankful to all the wonderful women who are really making a difference in others' life with their effort, with their work, with their services. And today, the Women of the Week I have on my platform is Miss Desiree Lyon. She is the co-founder of the American Hpwo Foundation and has also served as executive director of the foundation for 25 years. The most important thing and the most amazing thing about this lady is that she has been she has suffered from this disease for almost like 10 years. She's been in excruciating pain, but she didn't give up. The most strength, the most powerful thing about her, she's gonna share later on how did she actually manage all this stuff by herself. From where did she get all this strength, because when you are, going through some pain, when you are going through a health condition, you are probably not thinking to do something which can help others, but you actually think about yourself. But she has a courage, she has something different from us that pushed her to go to this extent that she actually prepared herself to help others. So please help me to welcome Ms. Desiree Lyon on this platform. Hi, how are you?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for giving us your time. And we are honored and we are humbled to have you on Hpwo platform. And I am so glad. You cannot imagine how happy I am, because whenever I see the women, who are so dedicated, who are actually have that strength, that makes me feel inspired from inside, and that makes me feel that yes, we women are that strong. We can do anything if we want to. So you are an inspiration to me. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So let's start with your story first, because I heard your story and you were actually going through a different kind of disease, which actually you couldn't able to, or even the doctors even couldn't able to diagnose what kind of pain you were going through. So what happened actually, and can you start, please?
Sure. I was around 18 years old, and I was experiencing horrendous pain as if my body were on fire. But unfortunately, since I was young, the doctors just thought I was exaggerating. And that happens to a lot of women, I think, particularly, that they're exaggerating, or that they're drug seeking, or that they are hypochondriacs. And unfortunately, I was neither. I won't go through the whole story except to say that eventually, by doctors ignoring me, I ended up at the brink of death. And I was medevaced to the National Institute of Health from Alabama, where I became a research patient. They didn't expect me to live, and they told everybody I wasn't most likely going to live, but I did live. And since I lived, that's when the whole story of what I did with the rest of my life began.
And I was really, inspired. You told me you were only 18 at that time, right?
Well, I was 18 when it all started, when the pain started. I was 28 at the time that I became near death. But all of this time, I was going to doctor after doctor after doctor and getting the same response until one physician said, you know, I see you're very not good coloring, you're gray coloring. I think something's wrong with you. But by the time he was able to find out what was wrong with me, I was near death. And I began the process of coming back to a normal life, but it took many years of experimental medicines and many years of total paralysis, 100 times in the hospital. It was a very, very difficult journey. But during that journey, I decided my journey's bad. I think I'm going to try to help others who are experiencing the same thing I am. And that's when I started, along with my co-founder, Mr. Young, James Young, I started the American Porphyria Foundation. We now have almost 13,000 members. From that one small incident, began to find other people all over the world. We're now in 76 countries, and we handle, hundreds of patients each month.
Okay, can you tell me exactly what it is, or what's the name?
Sure.
Of it? You know,
yeah, porphyria, Porphyria, is a group of diseases. Some affect the skin, some affect the central nervous system, and some affect both. I have one called acute intermittent porphyria that affects the central nervous system. So what it does along the pathway, the inborn metabolic pathway to make heme, you know, your blood is constituted of heme and globin and other things. Well, along making heme, it doesn't make heme properly. So you have all these collection of neurotoxins. So you can imagine a neurotoxin, that'd be like something toxic on your blood. Yeah, I'm going to have to move because, wouldn't you know, my battery's going out. Something toxic. If you, let's just say your nerves were all laid out in a path, the nerves in your body, and you just sort of poured acid on them, you realize you would be in some kind of screaming pain. And that's what it did to my body and the body of others. So it's
on the whole body, right? It's not.
It can affect anywhere in your body. It's usually the abdomen, the legs, the arms, but it can affect anywhere. Oh. And it did in my case. So I was one very, very, very ill person and remained that way for many years.
I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I can imagine, you know, when you are in pain, your body is not responding and you are young, you want to do a lot of things, you know, and you see your life that you have a lot of things in your life ahead, but your body is not like corresponding accordingly. So how down you could feel and how painful and pathetic you could feel.
Right.
But, you know, the most motivating part in your story, or the twisting part in your story, that you were not only going through the pain, but you were finding the solution. And how did this thought came into your mind that I have to do something in this field?
Well, I was sitting in the hospital, and a hospital away from home. I lived in Alabama. I was at the National Institute of Health, which is our largest research center. And I thought, if I don't know about this disease, I would take my rolling pole and roll down into the library and read about it. But all it was a lot of biochemistry. And so I asked the researchers, can I go in the lab with you and learn about the disease? And when I learned about it, I thought others should learn about it. So I wrote our very first pamphlet. I decided we'll start a little organization, and there'll be, you know, maybe 100 people max. Now we have 13,000. But I just wrote a little pamphlet, started the organization, and started sending these little pamphlets out to people all over the world. And then, of course, we started a website and all the things that you do to grow and grow. And now we have 8 research projects. We have patients all over the world. We have, of course, Facebook and Twitter and all the things of social media. But we help with insurance and Medicare and Medicaid. And the tasks are endless. But I think the important thing is that if you see a need, when I hear someone telling me about a need, I'll say, and most of them say, yeah, that's a need I have. Well, then maybe you step out and do something, because generally when you think of a need, or you're thinking about something a lot, that's God putting that in your mind for you to be his instrument in this world. So I became God's instrument for the disease called porphyria, which is very rare. And if you have, there's others out there that have rare conditions. And if you have a rare condition, don't give up. Keep looking and struggling until you find help. And then when you find help, reach out and help someone else. That's the way the world works the best.
I can see the spark in you, I can feel it, the power that you have inside your soul that is spreading light, and that's giving light to other people too, because everyone can live for your own self, but when you think about other, you get a different kind of strength in yourself, and that gives you kind of motivation that you are there for other people, and that's give you.
Every person is valuable. Every person is valuable, and every person can do something. Maybe what you do is be the best mama you can be, or maybe you can be the best neighbor you can be, or maybe you start an organization. There are so many lights that you can be in this world.
Especially being a woman, we have so much potential. We have so much, strength.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. My next question is, what is the cause? Do you know any particular cause for porphyria, or is this like?
What is the what cost?
Yeah, any cause like for this disease that's triggered this disease, or?
Oh yeah, the cause is, of course, because you have an inherited genetic problem. And it's an inherited inborn error of metabolism. Okay. So so it's inherited, but it doesn't, because the symptoms are so varied, it's very difficult at first to diagnose. But now we have been able to get new treatments. So when I first started out, there was an experimental treatment, but that's all. And for my type. So now there are two pharmaceutical treatments, and there is a host of information about the disease. So, and isn't the internet incredible that we can look up almost anything? It doesn't mean, by the way, I'm going to take this for a medical moment. Just because you find it on the internet doesn't make it true. Make sure you get, when you're looking up medical information, Wikipedia is not a medical website. Go to a hospital, or go to a teaching hospital or a teaching medical center to get your appropriate information. And for goodness sake, Facebook and social media is not where you're going to get medical information that you can trust. I think it's great for patients.
Not that much authenticated, you're right.
But be careful.
Be careful. I heard, that the one thing that made me to look into this diseases, that it has different kinds. I read about it. And you guys are, especially about your organization, you are helping people even in Pakistan, So,
yes.
So which is amazing. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It's interesting because Pakistan was one of the early countries that we helped the patients there. We have helped patients who were near death in the hospital, and our experts here would would actually call and talk with the doctors over there. You know, isn't that wonderful to be able to
It's
share
amazing,
like that?
you know, it's
And
amazing.
then we have patients who are not only have the type I have, but patients who have something called CEP, where when the sun hits their skin, it literally takes the skin off. They may have lose their digits, they may lose nose, their eyes, and we have been able to help many, many of those. Well, they're not many because it's rare, but we've been able to help them directly in Pakistan. And we even now have a leader called Abdul Butt who helps patients through the APF there in Pakistan. So it's amazing to be able to work together in love and care for one another all over the world.
Exactly. That is so wonderful. Thank you so much for doing all this work. You know, this is amazing. While I was listening you, so this question is coming into my mind, that how do you balance out your differentiating roles, you know?
How my all the different roles?
Yeah.
Well, I'll kind of tell you a little bit about myself. Of course, I am now global director of the Porphyria Foundation. I'm also on the board of MD Anderson Cancer Center and UTMB in Galveston. So and if anybody out there needs help about cancer, I help get patients into MD Anderson Cancer Center, also help with issues in Galveston. I'm a writer, so I do lots of magazine articles. I've written several books. So I'm always writing as well, and have done a great deal of consulting for television with rare diseases and movies with Madness of King George and King's Speech, and every medical program on television today. I've been a consultant. So I've got lots of jobs.
So that's what I'm asking, you know, how do you manage it? What do you do for your own? Because you also been gone through this disease. So now how is your health condition and how do you manage?
Well, when I was so ill, I couldn't do anything but be ill. And I ran the foundation, but it was very tiny then. I could never have done it. So I was fortunate to have gotten as well as I am today. I live in a lot of pain, but there are pain meds and ways to mitigate pain. But mainly, I'm not as ill as I was. So the main thing to do is to get well and then get out there.
So what do you do to being healthy?
Well, I used to love to ski, and I love to walk, and I love to hike, and I love to go to the beach. And I now live in Santa Rosa Beach on the Panhandle of Florida. I did live in Houston for 25 years and may go back there one day. So I make time for myself, because if you don't, you have diminishing returns. Understand what I'm saying? It doesn't do you a bit of good to just work all the time. If you work all the time, your work will be diminished.
That's true. I totally agree. So what would you like to share, any special moments you want to share with our audience, which actually kept you going with this great work throughout this tough journey? Any special thing you want to share, or any people who supported you throughout the journey?
Well, nobody can do these things alone. So even though I was executive director and founder, it took every patient, every doctor, every friend, and particularly my family. It's true that it takes a village. It's true. But the main thing is that you have to be a person of love. If you are motivated by love, you can reach anyone because they know that you're sincere, and sincerity shows through, wouldn't you say? I mean, I know immediately if someone is just talking the talk or if they really care. And love is the greatest motivator in the world. So I love people, and I don't want to see them ill or whatever their problem is.
I love this thought. Thank you so much. Because that's how we exchange the idea. That's how we get connected and we get inspiration from each other. At the end, I would like, if you want to give any message to the community, family, or friends as how they should respond, if any of their loved ones are going through any tough health situations, how should they behave or how should they respond to this?
Well, first off, I think it's important to believe the patient. There are people who exaggerate, but most people don't. Believe the patient and then go about finding the best medical care you can, or best hospital you can. If it's gastrointestinal, find the best gastroenterologist that you can find. If it's cancer, MD Anderson in Houston is the #1 cancer center in the world. Right. So find the best help you can find, and then read everything. Knowledge is power. Those who know the most do the best.
That's true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're welcome. You're a really beautiful person inside out. It was, I was planning to meet you in person, remember, but due to all this pandemic and all the situation, I couldn't do the interview. But well, we will one day, Amber, because I come back. I usually come to Houston often, but now I can't travel. So, well, once the travel and once we get a vaccine, I'll be all over the place. Yes, and I'll come see you. All waiting for that time and hoping for the best. And thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for your presence. You're welcome. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, at the end, I would like to say thank you to all the audience and for all the women out there who are helping others, who are doing whatever they can do within their potential, within their resources. Do the thing she shared, you should have love inside you that you can spread to other people, love people, and do your best for them. Thank you once again for joining at Inside Take with Amber, and see you soon. Bye-bye.